Hey Capricorn, let's do your reading for May 2020. Okay, I'm pulling from these Kim Kranz decks this month. Wild Unknown and Animal Spirits, classics. So, I got Crow energy for you, which is pretty cool. And then we'll just run through them. The Sun, Ace of Wands, Eight of Pentacles, Father of Cups in reverse, Father of Wands, the World in reverse, Son of Pentacles in reverse, the High Priestess, and the Five of Swords in reverse. So when I initially did your reading, and your reading has been kind of slow coming / evolving for me, especially since I'm a Capricorn moon, I've been sitting with your energy a little bit longer. So when I first pulled the High Priestess, it came in reverse. And then I kind of looked away for a moment, and then all of a sudden it was upright. And then with the Crow energy, I'm like, that doesn't seem like a surprise to me. Look at how they both have these, like, crystal balls, like these orbs. And they're both signs of intuition. And they're both about the supernatural, I think, and the unseen, and kind of the invisible worlds, and being in touch with that. So I feel like, at the start of the month in May, there might be kind of like I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to, like, convey this. Because I have to talk about this, too. Five of Swords in reverse in the World. So it's like, you've come so far, is what I'm trying to say. You've really grown a lot, and you've grown a lot, especially in your spiritual practice, and, like, in kind of how you are relating to your own psyche. And so when the month starts, I feel like there's going to be a tendency for you to be judging yourself, and or for you to kind of, like, maybe feel like, oh, I failed or something, which is so far beyond the case. I only say that because Five of Swords in reverse, Five of Swords to me is like a sore winner, or winning at all costs, such that you ended up losing anyway. Like someone who played dirty, or someone who just was so ruthless in the pursuit of winning that then everyone hates them when they've won, and what's the point, in a way. So it's kind of like how competition, to me this card is about how competition can cloud our sense of right and wrong, and how just trying to be the best and trying to win at all costs is not the point of life. Even though, like, this is, like, kind of, like, the symptoms of capitalism, for example. Or at least the stage of capitalism we're in, where it's like people are hoarding wealth. I won't get on a whole tangent about that. That's not what your reading is about. I'm just saying this energy plus this energy makes me think like there's just a harshness, especially we got the Father of Cups in reverse. I feel like there's just, like, a little bit of an emotional hangover, kind of. And I don't know why, per se. And we got the Son of Pentacles in reverse. This is you. This is your energy, Earth energy. It's like the Knight in a traditional deck. So just kind of got these reversals here. And with the reversals, I'm just kind of feeling maybe it's like burnout or self-criticism that's undue, or not fully celebrating your success, or not fully being in touch with how amazing you've done. Because really, with the Five of Swords in reverse, it's like, I think you've let a lot go. I think you've let a lot of bullshit go. I think you've really overcome a lot of problems. I think you've been very strong in dealing with them. And with the World, it's like the cycle is complete. Maybe you're going to be exiting quarantine this month. And with it in reverse, I think there's just sort of like, or maybe disappointment. Like, maybe something that you had kind of wanted to happen is not going to happen. Like, something you'd been kind of holding out for isn't quite gonna make it. But I don't mean make it in, like, I just think it's like there's some things in your orbit that were not meant to be. that weren't really in your highest good. Not really in your highest good. So, for example, whatever maybe you're losing at is actually for the best. Or wherever you didn't compete, it's for the best. I think I just want to instill in you a sense of like, wherever you're at now is beautiful and amazing. You did do a great job. And these feelings are more about you just maybe having opportunities to learn where you could be even continue to be more gentle and more compassionate with yourself. And to also maybe let go of some of the need to achieve. Especially as a Capricorn, that's so hard because our society really encourages this behavior. And then your sign, you're wanting to get to the top of the mountain. And I think for Capricorns, it's kind of hard to really just take those breaks and those pauses and look out at the plateau to really take in this whole cycle, this whole journey that you've been on, and like how much you've really grown, even in the past 2 years, for example. So yeah, so then to come back here, I feel like maybe you start out the month kind of just like a little bit like world weary. Or a little bit like, man, what did I just go through? Or like, what was all that for? Or kind of like, you know, just a little lament. But I think with the crow energy, maybe it starts seeping in like just all the places you can give yourself credit. Like, oh, well, you know what? I did say no to that opportunity that wasn't good for me, and that was a good thing, and I'm grateful, and things are working out for the best. Like, this energy, when you look away for a second, and when you kind of just give yourself a break, and when maybe you know, for example, to make it about the mountain that you're climbing up, when you just sort of, like, take a rest and you look out at the vista of like how far you've climbed, you're really able to take it in and see, and you're like, oh, actually I'm fucking awesome. And yeah, so, and then I think when you also maybe take this pause, because the crow medicine is like also about meditating, so it's like when you stop kind of this narrative that maybe was in your head about like, oh man, like let me judge myself for whatever reason, or let me be upset that things aren't going to turn out exactly the way I had hoped. It's like kind of this release, this letting go, and in that there is a freeing, like you're becoming more free. Father of Wands, you also pulled. It's like, I think what you're really learning to do in May is to get in touch with your creative spirit. And, like, sorry, I just need to pause this real quick. Okay. So, sorry, I had to do business. Yeah, but that's kind of what I mean is like, I was getting distracted because of some text I just got that felt a little pressing to respond to, right? And so I'm like, I'm having a hard time continuing with this reading and being fully present for you when I know that I just need to address something real quick. And then I did it. That's what I mean. I'm like, when you just kind of take whatever it is that you need for yourself to just get back on track. So whether that's rest, whether that's just kind of finally addressing a pressing matter, whether that's like looking away and turning back and realize everything's kind of set straight, it's sort of like when you just go easy on yourself and take care of yourself in the ways that you need, I think a lot of this like strife and conflict that I was talking about at the top kind of dissolves. And maybe you even see that a lot of this was an illusion, and that there was really no reason to be hard on yourself or so hard on yourself. You're like getting in touch with yourself, your true inner knowing, and your true like kind of at ease with the universe and the flow of things, and you're like, oh, okay, so then now it's opening up is all of this creative potential for you. Like, look at these two. I mean, they both are very, like, similar in just the way they're drawn. Kind of these, like, bursts of energy, bursts of inspiration. The Father of Wands with the snake, I mean, to me that's, like, fire energy, but it's you also maybe kind of learning how to be more playful, more spontaneous with your process. I had a day, for example, where, like, I had a lot of work to do, and I was, like, just feeling so much resistance, so much overwhelm, kind of like this energy right here. And then I was like, shit. So I just, like, honestly, I took a weed chocolate, and then I did a yoga session in my room, and then all of a sudden I found myself organically doing the work that I needed to do without that sense of pressure and, like, the attachment to perfection that was keeping me stuck before. I just kind of, in letting go of my need to be perfect and to, like, be productive and to meet someone else's expectations, it's kind of like by giving myself permission to fail almost, I was able to succeed. Because it was like, whatever was constricting me, and I'm interested in constricting with the snake, it's like kind of just like loosening up the reins a little bit. And then it comes to you. It's kind of like just trusting in yourself to be in harmony or in flow with the universe. I mean, think about the Big Bang, for example, right? Like, do you think the Big Bang, do you think, like, the universe was, like, stressing out, being like, oh, I need to create an entire universe, and, like, I need it to be, perfect, and I need to make sure that in a billion years Earth evolves, and that humans come to the planet to, like, start building businesses, and to, you know what I mean? Like, no. The universe, when it was created, it was just like, whoosh, I'm gonna create an entire universe now. Big Bang, the sun, happiness, inspiration, Ace of Wands inspiration, new ideas, new kind of, and also happy endings or happy beginnings. Like, the sun is like, kind of like, job well done. It's also, yeah, I feel like it's more new beginnings than old beginnings, especially we're talking about Big Bang, new life, new seeing, too. Like, when you were in the dark, maybe you couldn't see all the shit. But now all of a sudden, you can both see in the dark, and there's more light. So I think kind of things are just starting to open up, and whatever was in the past, you're kind of making amends with it, you're letting go of it, you're not so weighed down by it anymore. And then we got the Eight of Pentacles. And so I feel like with all this positive energy that starts flowing in, and it starts flowing in when you just give yourself a break. It just starts flowing in when you, like, are, like, you know what, maybe I just will fail. Maybe I just, or vice versa, for me, like, maybe I just will take 2 seconds out of my tarot reading to address a pressing matter and then return to it, more fully present. And then I can really get into it again. Kind of like whatever it is that is making your attention scattered. That's what I'm trying to say. When your attention is scattered, you're not building a web. Right? When you're, like, stressing out about, like, how do I build a web? It's just, you're like, oh, do I put, like, a corner here? Do I put a corner here? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. How do I make this thing? When you're putting, like, that conscious attention on it, that's this High Priestess. When you kind of just let the High Priestess breathe, and when you're, like, kind of not so just, like, hung up on, like, the past and, like, how things have gone previously, and just accept, like, you know what, like, I'm this crow, I'm allowed to just sit on a branch and kind of, like, screech at people and just be for a moment and just kind of, like, let what comes to me come to me, and then do what I feel compelled to do, whatever that may be. Suddenly you find yourself in this flow where you actually really are getting the work done, and you realize, like, oh shit, you know, like, I'm a spider, and my inherent nature is to know how to build this. I know how to do this. I don't need to even think about it. I don't need to put, like, all of this work on top of my work. I can just do it. Like, I can just be it. And that's what I think is echoed here in the Sun and the Ace of Wands, too, with the Father of Wands. Inspiration, kind of like instinct. Or getting, like, instinct out of this. Like, getting out of your own way so you can get in touch with your own, like, inherent instincts and inherent knowing about, like, just, I'm gonna do what's next. And what's next might not be what your conscious mind thinks should be next. For example, the day where I, like, suddenly became productive, I suddenly became productive by eating weed chocolate and then doing yoga. Like, like, neither of those things were productive, but they were just things I felt like, I'm gonna do that. And then I just kind of, like, let go of some of that stress. I think part of it is stress and constriction is keeping you in this energy, so when you let go of it and just kind of like, whatever it is, then these bolts of lightning inspiration, these kind of, like, flashes of inspiration, this kind of just bursting forth of creative energy that builds and manifests just sort of happens naturally. And then you can be surprised by your own process and be like, wow, I can't believe that came out of me. I mean, it's just because you got in touch with, like, that flow and you got out of your own way. So really this month is about getting out of your own way. Get out of your own goddamn way, Capricorn. Because also when you rest and you take in that vista and you really kind of understand how far you've come in your journey, then when you, like, get back on the road, you have that renewed passion and that renewed energy and, like, that kind of, like, more confidence in yourself. So, like, the next leg of the journey is actually easier. It's not harder. Cool. Yay, love it. Beautiful. Okay. See you again in June. Bye.